Hi there, my name's Alistair Kennedy and I'm the Sociable Social Worker, and I give practical advice to social workers, newly qualified social workers and those who are just starting out on their career as a student social worker. And in this video I'm going to look at the most clickbait video you can find for social workers. What are the highest paid jobs in social work? So there's loads of videos out there. There's one in particular that says you can earn £50,000 a year as a social worker. Yes, you can, but let's face it, we're not going to get rich being social workers, and let's face it, we don't come into social work to make loads of money anyway. However, I'm going to give you the information you need to pick and choose for the future what jobs you might want to go into based on salary. Now look, money is also really relative. One person's lifestyle is different to another's. What person, rich to one person might not be to another. And in fact, I'm going to leave you a video link down below, and it's a video by Casey Neistat, who's a really big YouTube presenter, and he talks about being really poor and then really rich, and it's a really eye-opening video, especially for us as social workers. So have a wee look, and it kind of fits into the theme of this video. When I started as a social worker, I was on £12,000 a year, and then that rose to 12.5. Last week I saw a team manager's job in the UK for £51,000. However, it's useful to know nowadays in 2021 to 22 how much social workers get paid in the UK, so you can pick and choose jobs for the future. So let's get into it. So, agency social work. Now, I've got a video on agency social work, and you can find it in the link below, and it just gives you a full rounded picture of what it's like to work as an agency social worker. I've been an agency social worker for 5 years. I've now just started a permanent job, really because of COVID, but actually it can be quite lucrative, and it depends on how you want to work as an agency social worker. Now there's a thing called IR35 coming in, which is looking at the tax implications of working as an agency worker. But it gives you flexibility, especially if you've got children or a family. It gives you flexibility in the types of job that you want to undertake as a social worker. And sometimes it gives you lots of new experiences in different posts. So for example, I've worked as a head of service, but I've also worked as a registered manager, but I've also worked in setting up projects for adoption. So it gave me lots of experience to grow from and to build my CV. So what about fostering for profit? And what I mean by that is there are a lot of fostering agencies out there who are not linked to the local authority, but who provide care for children and young people, but also charge the local authority quite a lot of money for them to care for those young people. However, what they do is they pay their staff pretty well. A social worker can earn up anything from 38k to 45k depending on experience. Sometimes it can come with a company car, sometimes it can come with private health insurance. And what I would say to people who are interested in fostering for a for-profit agency is scout about, because often they do golden handshake deals, things like that, and also golden handcuff deals, which keeps you in place for a number of years if you take on a large salary. So what I would say is shop around, but the bigger salaries come with more responsibility. So bigger caseloads, more dynamic caseloads, more difficult caseloads, and also salaries for senior managers can be 50 to 80k plus. So you could eventually earn 85, 86k easily as a registered manager in the future. However, these jobs, this is a dichotomy, they make a lot of money for the company, and so will you be making a lot of money for the company. So if you don't want to do that, then I suggest you go to the local authority. And some people find it's quite a dichotomy between the social work values and making money for a company. So just think about that carefully if you're one of those people. So in the future, you might work yourself up the ranks in the local authority, and you may go from a social worker to a team manager to a service manager, and then you might think about being what they call a head of service. Now, a head of service is just as it sounds. It runs mostly some of the services within the local authority, and that could be adoption and fostering, that could be placements. Sometimes they lump them all together, but this is the last stage in a heads of service. Most people then go on to be a director of social services, and heads of services gives you that holistic view of management, and it's quite there's a lot of high level decision making in it, and it's really quite operational, so you can still have that operational bias, but there might be a lot of politics, particularly if you're in the local authority, and a lot of meetings and a lot of paperwork. But it comes with a good salary, £67,000 a year to upwards of £89,000 a year in some of the larger local authorities. So lastly, when you've made it big, you become the Director of Social Services, and that can be upwards of 110k to 180k depending on the size of the local authority. Obviously, as I always say to people, Director of Services are always the people, if something goes wrong, they're the final stage. The buck stops with them, and they're the people that end up in the front page of the paper. However, you get a lot of fantastic directors of social work out there. Generally, you need to have at least 15 years plus as a head of service, and you have to cover all sectors of childcare, sometimes adult care, even healthcare. Some people have even worked in the NHS, and this is a post that, you know, comes with huge responsibilities, and similar to what we would say as a chief operating officer or even a chief executive officer in some blue chips companies. But as I say, it comes with the big bucks, 110k to 180k depending on the size of the local authority. So there you have it, how much social workers and social work managers get paid in 2021 to 2022. And what I would say, if you're a newly qualified social worker or you're just starting out as a student, you can get some work in residential, you can do some what's called Form F assessments for fostering. These are the kind of things that you can build your experience on, and you can still get paid while you're working. You can do them kind of on the side. When you get later into your career, you can do things like being on fostering panel or adoption panel, or become agency decision maker, which is the highest level decision making in a local authority or private fostering agencies. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, drop it a like, please. That would help me out an awful lot. And I hope to see you all soon.